Hello everyone, welcome to Humanities Gurukul, your one-stop solution for social studies. So today we will start with second chapter from trade to territory. So I give you some idea that the British India or East India Company, they just came as a trader, and eventually once they observe the condition of India, so they just transform themselves as ruler. So all these things took some time. It was somewhat gradual process. It did not happen in one day. So first initial point, what happened that with the death of Aurangzeb, he was the last prominent Mughal ruler, emperor. So what happened after his death in 1707? So somewhat decline of Mughal it began. Why? Because his successors were somewhat not that much powerful. They were weak, and apart from this, what another thing happened, that fragmentation of Mughal rule. How? See, center is weak. Why? After death of Aurangzeb, center is weak. So obviously the other ruler, so who were previously under the rule of Mughal, they just started gaining autonomy, like Mughal governors who were also known as Subadar or big zamindars. So when they noticed that center became weak, so they just began asserting their authority. And we also see the coming up of regional kingdom. So with all this process, Delhi dominance declined. Delhi dominance declined. This is the first thing, the initial point. Now, if we discuss the rise of British as emperor, so second half of 18th century. 18th century. So, so what happened that initially as traders, but they after noticing or analyzing the situation of India, they expanded. So expanded their influence through strategic alliance, then military conquest, then economic dominance. See, their strategy was somewhat very strong, and they even indulged into internal conflict of Indian rulers also. So in everything, their motive was simple: how to gain more authority in Indian politics. Initially, and this is the term which we define from colonialism to imperialism. Like initially traders, then colonialism. That okay, once they notice that the India has somewhat rich culture, rich economic situation or condition, so they just wanted to extract. So they became colony just to extract the maximum, and eventually once they found situation was suitable for them to become ruler. And in this they follow two famous battle of Plassey. It is considered to be the first battle, like direct battle between Indian and British. And then Buxar, with Buxar they got Diwani Riot. These two we will discuss in subsequent chapters, but you have to see or notice this point that in second half of 18th century, from traders through their strategy, their military power, then economic strength they had, and strategist. So these three things help them to get more deeper into Indian politics. Then just let's have a basic understanding on East India Company, how it came to India. So you have to understand in basic, if you follow this map. So initially, mostly they use this route of Central Asia, but in 14th 15th century, rise of Ottoman Empire and Arab traders dominated. So because of that, what is happening? So they are not allowing any trade to pass from this route. And 15th 16th century was the age of revolution, discoveries, then scientific revolution. So now what happened, that their rulers, they're assigning this duty of just searching for new area, new land. So instead of following this path, they're just taking this long time through Cape of Good Hope, and they're just searching for new land where they can just go with trading and all. So in this course only in 1498, Portuguese Vasco da Gama landed to this part, Goa. So in similar way, they are going to Eastern Asia, then some other coastal part of India, then they are going to Eastern India. So purpose is simple, that this route is somewhat obstructed. So they are taking another route and a new line just for their trading purposes. So in that course, what happened in 1600s, East India Company acquired charter from Queen Elizabeth. Charter is somewhat permission, so to trade. So in this charter, they got some monopoly to in trade in East. So it means that no other trading group from England can come to East and trade with India. So they got monopoly. Then apart from that, it gave them it gave them scope scope to search new land, as I have already discussed, new land to trade. And it was somewhat famous in European nation that trading with Eastern Asia is too much profitable. Why? Because it was having rich sources of raw material which can be used by them, and mostly famous for spices and textiles. So trading with eastern land was considered to be most profitable. Then along same time, what is happening, that royal charter can prevent other trading company from England, but it cannot prevent other European power. So monopoly was there, but not entire. So because of this, they went through some tussle or struggle to get to retain their monopoly through other European countries like Portuguese. I gave you an idea how they started with Vasco da Gama in 1498 only. Then Dutch, then French also came. So all these European power is the European trading company. They were having motive of making profit, but just to make profit, they have to fight among themselves. Why? Because the concept of fittest, survival of fittest, that whoever is more powerful, they can only survive and can just utilize, exploit this profit in somewhat better way. And mostly, I told you, it is because of market interest. Market interest, like they just sought for goods, like cotton, then silk, spices, the most valued item from eastern part of globe. So because of this competition, increasing competition, so inflation, inflated price. So because of this, what is happening? Their profit decrease, and as I have discussed with you, just to retain their monopoly, some series of battle. Why? Just to eliminate their rival. S- So this elimination, this follow of series of war, like they were blocking each another ship and then battle at ship, and also they'll fortify their settlement. So in this whole process, they just forget that whatever they are doing in some foreign land. So it also impacted the local traders of local rulers or local traders. Why? Because it is challenging their interest. So they also got angry. Then they also involved into these battles and wars. So in this chapter, we'll primarily focus upon how decline of Mughal rule started with the death of Aurangzeb, then coming up of East India Company from Britain, and their main motive was use profit in the trade. So they started with traders, and they just enjoyed this monopoly, but eventually, just to gain more profit, they had to fight with their other European competitor, eliminate those. And in this process only, they just enter into politics of India, just to gain somewhat more favor from local trade rulers and traders. Now, if we move further, so once they are settled, so Bengal is considered to be important part. As you can notice, it is located on the coastal area and somewhat linked with western part properly. So their main center was Bengal, Kolkata. So they first set up their factory on the bank of river Hooghly. This is important and can be probable question in one liner exam. So first factory was set up on the banks of river Hooghly, and it served as base for the traders, base for the traders known as factors, right? And it served the purpose of warehouse where they could store their goods, and plus offices for the company officers. Now slowly what is happening, that trade expanded. So company anyhow, they just persuaded the merchants and traders to come and settle to near the factory. Why? Because if merchants and traders are there, so they'll bring some more trade, more profit, right? So by 1696, that is important. So one fort was built around the settlement. Fort was built around the settlement, and so just to enter into Indian this trading part, they just follow a series of event. First, what they did, they just built some fort. Then they just bribed Mughal officers, Mughal officers for Jamindari right for three villages. Why? Because they just want more and more revenue. And if they are getting some jamindari rights, see, jamindari rights over three villages, and one among them was Kalikata, which is today's Kolkata. So you can understand this Kolkata was so much important from that time it onwards. Then plus what they did, see, fort construction done, then bribed to get three villages for revenue. Then they also persuaded Aurangzeb to issue Farman. Why? Duty free trade. Duty free trade. So that if they are trading in this part, so they should not pay any duty just to maximize profit. And then along with this, say, duty free trade plus they're also carrying private trade, which is somewhat illegal trade. And plus they're constantly they were seeking some more concession and manipulate they manipulated existing privileges. So with more their desire increase more, so they just wanted more concession. So because of all this, maximum profit for company, but it was hampering the revenue collection for Bengal. So it was profit positive for company, but it was negative for Bengal. So because of this, what is happening, that obviously if you are going to some territory, you are doing your business, that is totally fine, but it should not affect the internal economy. But their actions were impacting internal revenue of Bengal. And now it came into notice of Nawab also. And after some point of time, they also reacted. So about the reaction of Nawab, we shall take up in next topic or next lectures. But you have to think one thing, that why we started with Bengal only. Why? Because Bengal was very much important position of British India, and it gave them good revenue, and it only revenue from Bengal helped them to expand their British rule. So in next chapter we will discuss about how this trade led to battles and what are the consequences. But till now you have to make this point very clear, that the true intentions of British evolved gradually. Initially, they didn't targeted of becoming the master of India, but eventually, after seeing the situation, then everything, analyzing the internal politics, they just thought of becoming the master. So, thank you. We shall take up the further discussion.